Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on the ECKO Effect. I am Ellen Kolodziej, and I'm so excited to have two amazing guests with me today, Hope and Melissa Rice. And what an appropriate topic to start the first week of school for so many people all across Pennsylvania and across the country. So many people, including so many adults, have so much anxiety and stress and worry about school and life in general. Well, you are going to meet two amazing women who have done so much to alleviate that anxiety, not just for young people, but for their parents as well. So first of all, thank you both, Hope and Melissa, for being here.
Thank you. We're so excited.
And
thank you.
I am so excited to be here with you today. So why don't we start with the basics? So how did this book, you wrote a book, can you first lift it up for me and show me the book? And it's called The Worry Shark. I love it. I love it.
And that's her on the cover, right?
I mean, I wish I wrote a book. So many adults would love to have written a book, Hope. I mean, you should be so proud. You're 10 years old. I know you were 9 when you wrote the book. Now you're double digits. I remember turning double digits. It's a big deal. But tell me how this even started. How would you even get the idea to write a book?
In kindergarten, I had like a lot of worries and my stomach would hurt when my mom would drop me off at school. And I was like afraid that like she wouldn't pick me up and stuff.
Oh.
And so we went to like a therapist and she told me to like turn it into something. And I didn't like sharks. Like I was really scared of sharks, so I turned it into a shark.
Huh.
And we made like a book called The Worry Shark that was like based off of it.
Well, I don't know many people who like sharks. You're too young to remember the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Right? But Jaws scared me to death when I was your age, right?
I watched Soul Surfer, and I didn't like that.
So what a great image of worry and stress. But when you said your stomach hurt, I know so many people growing up who were afraid to go to school or were nervous about their teachers or were nervous about going to class. And it does manifest. I know that's a bigger word. I know you're a smart girl, but it manifests itself with stomach aches. So Melissa, when she came to you and said, Mom, I'm having stomach aches, you're an educator. Let's start with that. You teach at Immaculata, correct?
Yeah, so I'm a professor at Immaculata Communication, but I do have a background in terms of mental health as a speaker of my own story. So when she first started showing signs, I said, oh no, mine started at 5 when hers started with the anxiety, the worries, the what ifs. What if my mom doesn't pick me up? What if something bad happens? So I knew that the stomach aches were that accompanying physical pain that she was feeling from that anxiety. And as soon as I was hearing those reassuring questions that she was asking, as soon as I knew she couldn't get out of the car, and as soon as I heard those, stomach pains, I knew, oh no, it's anxiety, which was really hard because I never wanted my child to go through what I went through. And the other hard part was, as an advocate, you tell people to get help, but I understand my mom's side because you never want your kid to struggle. So it was hard to admit and say, yes, she's going through this. Let's get her help, even though I knew I had to.
Right. And as parents, I mean, I always say to my kids, they're 22 and 24 now, but I always say, I'd do anything to take away your pain. Right. As parents, that's just what we want to do. And so when your 5-year-old saying, Mom, I'm having stomach issue, I'm having stomach pains, and that it's coming from stress, that's a really hard thing. So how did the idea for the book come?
So, well, tell her what you did in therapy, and then I'll kind of talk about what happened after that.
Yeah, how did it?
So my therapist would have me draw a picture, and one of them was the shark bigger than me and me smaller, and then the other one was me bigger than the shark and the other one and the shark smaller, and that was like me like fighting back at the worry shark, which meant like it was tinier and I was bigger.
And what are some of the things you would say to it?
Like I would just tell it to like stop and like try to like fight back at it and stuff.
So when you would have this worry or this anxiety, you would think of the shark, and then you were bigger than that. You could conquer that. That's amazing. That's really a great image. And so then, Melissa, you came up with the idea then to write the book to help other children and students her age and parents, right?
Yeah. So initially, it's a cognitive behavioral therapy technique. Well, CBT is one of the greatest therapies for this type of anxiety. And basically, as a kid, you don't understand anxiety, but she understands that pick something you're afraid of and it's a shark. So I can talk back to that. And although the sharks will always be there, they can get, smaller in terms of my brain where I can tell it that I'm stronger than it and it's not going to take over my life. So at this point, it was affecting, sports, social. She was still doing these things, but I knew there was something going on. And I figured the more we talked about the worry shark, the better off she'd be in terms of recognizing that. So what first happened was Lunchbox. We had a picture of the shark and her bigger than the shark. And then it turned into, I decided to make this book where I literally drew out a whole book of just cartoon and her, and I was just handwritten, and I gave it to her and I said, here's your story, here's your book. And this is showing you that power you have, because each time you go to therapy and do this, you are literally fighting it. So eventually I was talking to a psychiatrist and they said, wow, this is really cool. And we went to Hope and I said, what do you think about, writing down your story, really sharing it to help others? And the goal was really to help other kids, but we started to realize it's a conversation starter for families, because it is so hard for a kid to just put into words what they're going through. And if we can say, hey, turn it into a bee, turn it into a shark, they can kind of say, this is the thing that I feel is scaring me, and let's talk back to it. And then that can help that conversation.
And the shark was something that Hope that you wanted to think about, but you can, when you talk to students, and we'll talk about that in a minute, like they can think of anything that they're afraid of. Like you said, a bee or a dog, or I mean, I love dogs, but maybe some people are afraid of dogs or whatever, a bear, whatever image they have, a ghost, like whatever they think of as something scary, they can think of that, right?
Yeah. Do you want to, what happened in the,
I think it was in like kindergarten.
Yeah,
we were
the
at recess.
playground.
And there's this girl, and she was like having like a hard time, like her stomach was hurting, and she had a lot of like worries and stuff. And I told her about the worry shark, and she turned hers into a bee. And that's in the book, actually.
Oh wow, right. So then you gave her advice, and then she turned it around. Hope, how does that make you feel, knowing that you wrote this book with your mom and knowing that you have helped other kids your age, younger than you, maybe older than you, and like your mom said, families, to just have the discussion about it? How does that make you feel?
It feels like good to know that like other people won't worry as much, and that I can like kind of help them with that a little bit.
But you said something to me too, where I didn't know this, but it helps you you personally.
Yeah, it kind of helps me a little too, because it makes me feel like I'm not like the only one that has it. There's still other people.
Right, because I would think that's the biggest thing, thinking you're alone, right, Melissa, that there's some stigma.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much, there's not as much stigma as there used to be, when we were younger and
Absolutely
had anxiety or stress or depression. People talk about it now, thank goodness, because of the athletes and because of celebrities. But still, when you're young, when you're, 5, 6, 7, whatever age, people still don't want to talk about it. So Hope, that must help you so much to know that you're not alone, that you're helping other kids know they're not alone. And talk about, don't you go in front of classes now and tell me what you and your mom are doing?
Well, this was unbelievable, because this girl, so everyone in the school got a copy of her book from this amazing supporter. And the principal's like, hey, do you want to speak to everyone? Well, there's 500 classmates in her school.
And what school?
So
let's give them
what did you do?
What school?
Yeah. East Bradford Elementary.
And where is that?
So we're Westchester.
Westchester, okay.
Yes. So do you want to share that experience? Because I didn't start speaking until I was 20.
What?
And I have spoken in large crowds. For your first to be not 30 people, 500 of your classmates that you see, and share your story and read this book, I was so moved by her and just inspired. So how was that feeling?
Yeah. Like, I was having anxiety.
Listen,
about that. Like, it just gave me anxiety, because I was like, oh no, what are people going to think? But in the end, it was really scary, but in the end, all my friends were clapping and everything. So it was good in the end, but it gave me anxiety.
And I teach public speaking, and I'm on the news.
Yeah.
And I do media training, and that's what I help people with, people who are old. And that is, you understand that that's the number one fear in this country, right? Hope, to speak in public. So for you to do that, I'm sure your mom gave you some tips because she's a great speaker, but just for you to do that is so amazing. And I know you're proud, and it gets easier every time you do it, but I can't tell you enough how fantastic that is and how that's going to help you in every aspect of your life. And you've done a few of these now, right? Have you done a couple of them?
Yeah.
I did my class last year.
Okay.
I just like read the book.
And then we went to a local school in Delaware County. We did their whole third grade. So it was kids she didn't know went in, and they were so adorable. They all got books. They just wanted to be near her, take pictures. They were asking questions. And I think every kid just wants to know they're not alone. And just if we can let parents know it's okay if your child has worries, it doesn't define you as a parent, if they have anxiety, etc. I know that's hard as a parent to admit, but we want to start this conversation. And if we can start a conversation through this book, that's a children's book where the kids can read and understand it more and involve you, these parents, guardians, it's a beautiful thing. And of course, I'm proud of her and moved by her. And I use it now. I still have severe OCD. I'll have it forever, but I was able to get tips and tools and go to therapy and manage it.
Mhm.
But now I'm using this technique where I'm like, okay, mine's this, and I'm yelling back at it. So to learn from a 10-year-old is pretty remarkable.
And Hope, what has it helped you and your mom? Talk about how it's helped you and your family. How has it helped not only your confidence and you with speaking to your classmates and just feeling better about yourself? You know, how has it helped you in life?
Yeah, like I feel like at first I was like really scared because I was like, I don't know like what people are gonna think. But now it's making me feel like more like better about it now because I spoke to like my whole school and like my classmates and stuff, so it made it like easier.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of kids come to you now? Because I feel like so many kids go to her as a support, which is really cool. Really close friends who might be struggling. And even her brother, I just think, you know, it's her brother. So of course the relationship is like, oh, it's my little brother. But look at her face. You know, it's funny. It's that normal. He's 7. But it's just sweet because I think he learns so much from her and he looks up to her. He's just so proud of her that it's just so amazing to watch, and he's so proud of his big sister. So
well, I'm sure he's so proud of you, and you know he'll continue to be proud of you. I hope, even if you go through a rough time, or you might fight. No, I'm kidding. You'll be fine.
They're normal brother and sister, fighting and loving, and
I'm joking. But you did tell me a little bit about the classmate on the playground. But do other students come up to you or talk to you or say that you've helped them?
Yesterday I was at the playground actually, and this girl, she was just like, oh, you're the girl that did the Barbie shark, and I'm like, yeah.
So
and she goes to my school.
That must make you feel like, you know, I always say, if you can help one person, right? If you could help one person, you've done your job. You've done an amazing job, and so that's fantastic. And how did you feel? I can't imagine at my age publishing a book. How did it feel, you know, hold the book up again, to see that you published a book with your mom? I mean, what an accomplishment. How did you feel when you saw that?
At first, I guess I was like a little nervous about it because I was just like what the heck? Like, I was just kind of nervous.
It is new on here, right?
Yeah.
Like, what will people think, or what were you nervous about? What?
Yeah. But then, like, it was just like, oh, like, this is kind of just, like, easy and, like, how it is. And, like, as soon as I started doing it more, it was just, like, something to, like, do, I guess.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually didn't even share this with her. So there's a little boy on TikTok, and he's younger. He's probably 5, and he's obsessed with the Eagles, and he puts videos up. You saw him. Okay, and he is hilarious. Well, the mom, we didn't realize they're both from Philly. And until I saw the Eagles thing, obviously. She didn't know I was from it. And I guess I popped up on her algorithm, you know, For You page. So she wrote me and got the book. And now he's reading it, wants to do a video. So this little boy's like, loves Hope, wants to do a video. And I think for us, it's like, he brings such joy to our lives and my life. He just lights up my day. And then for us to be able to say, wow, like this book could help just some kid we don't know. I think that's the beauty of it, is knowing and starting that conversation, because mental health affects all of us. It affects, young kids all the way up to first responders to, college students. And I think it's just starting that conversation. Like you said, there's less stigma, but there's still stigma. People are still not seeking help. And if we continue the conversation, it's okay. And it normalizes it and lets people know they're not alone and that it can work and you can get better. For sure.
And I don't want anybody to think it's just elementary school kids or high school kids. I mean, college kids are going back. My niece just went back. My son just graduated from Penn State, but college students have so much anxiety. So, I mean, they might just see a book like this. And even if they don't, want to admit it, there are so many students that have anxiety and social media adds to our anxiety, even though it does many good things, right, Hope? But it also
absolutely
adds a lot of stress to people's lives. So you're doing more good than you realize just getting this word out there and maybe just getting it onto social media. And I'd love to help get you guys into more schools. And I know that.
I'd love to. Yeah.
What advice do you have before we wrap up? What advice do you have to parents, Melissa, that maybe are still afraid to talk about it or maybe are still think there's some stigma, even though there shouldn't be? What advice do you have to parents who at the beginning of the school year, maybe their child is going into middle school or a different high school, or maybe they're starting to see different signs of stress and anxiety that they didn't see before? What advice do you have for them?
I think a lot of people think you have to have a diagnosis to get support, and that's not true. We have diagnosis, I have anxiety disorder, but there's external things in life like these changes that can affect you. And if it does affect their daily task and life and social life, it's okay to get them help and support. I think as parents, we feel like it's our fault and we want to fix it. And I can tell you, my mom was a pediatric nurse when I was going through what I did with severe OCD at 5. And it just wasn't talked about. There was no treatment like there is today. And I go into her class and we always talk about it. She'll say, I wish I could have done things differently. And I say, but Mom, you did your best. And for me, it was even hard to want to get her help because I know what it's like. I know, I don't want my child to struggle, but at the same time, I know that with kids, I will tell you it's easier for them. The sooner you get help, the better for them because their brain is just so, it adapts to these treatments and it helps them learn these tools that they're going to have for life. So if you are nervous about that or worried, you're not going to be judged. You're not alone. There are so many people supporting you. We're here for you. And, these kids, I think the ones that really get me the most are like high schoolers who say, I know I need help, but I'm not allowed to get help. So I'm like, hey, use that counselor, use that support at school because everyone deserves to talk to someone. And there's different cultures and different beliefs, and we understand that. But if we can understand mental health is a part of us and it's okay that we battle that and normalize it, I think, it's hard and you're doing your best. It doesn't define you as a parent, guardian, but, for that kid, we don't want the kid to feel like that. We want them to have that freedom of being able to tackle that anxiety, worries, how they're feeling. So you're doing amazing. Keep going. Yeah. But just know it's okay, to get your child that support.
When you say they say they're not allowed to get help, their parents think there might be a stigma.
Yeah.
If they're insurance or something.
Yeah, my parents won't get me help. So there's two things to that. Yeah, my parents won't get me help. They don't believe me. Or the issue is, unfortunately, we know that a lot of the experts are not covered by insurance. And insurance, some of the places with insurance are incredible, but some don't have that type of therapy a child may need. So it might be the right fit. And that's a big issue as it can be expensive. So, I can understand why. Also, there's waits. There's like a 6 to 12 week wait sometimes when your child's struggling. Yeah. So I think using the resources around you, support groups, even social media, there's so many negatives, but positive, having a support group, if there's a mom group of anxiety or something like that with kids, those types of things can help you. But, this resource that we're hoping, we're not saying this is the therapy and that's use that for that, use this as a tool. But if, this can help you get started with the conversation to talk about those emotions and feelings and normalize it and help your child and you understand it. That's just our goal is so no one feels alone.
And I think I would like to remind people that there are so many resources that people don't take advantage of in elementary schools, middle school, high school, and college. You pay a fee at every college for resources. And I taught at LaSalle University for years, and students would come to me and I would try to help them, but I'd say, please take advantage of the resources at any college, any university. And some of them would say, some students would say, I'm afraid to tell my parents. And I'd say, it's confidential. Just go.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that anybody listens to this or watches this knows that there are so many resources. And like you said, even on social media. So I just want to thank you both. Anything you'd like to end with besides hope, any message you'd like to have for people?
Just like don't forget that you're like not alone and that like I went to like the same thing and that like it'll get better.
I love that.
I'm so proud of her.
Will get better. And you should be so proud of yourself, and you should be so proud of your mom and for helping other people. Help us, tell us where we can find this book.
Oh, we love that.
Plug.
Yeah, so it's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble websites. And if you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, we're at The Worry Shark, and Facebook too. But we're mostly on TikTok and Instagram. So we do some fun things on there too. And then we also have some more videos on there with, talking about topics and that kind of thing. So
Thank you. At The Worry Shark.
At The Worry Shark.
TikTok, and then Instagram, Facebook, but also you can get the book on Amazon.
And Barnes & Noble website.
Well, I'll make sure.
Thank you.
That because I think you both are phenomenal, and I can't thank you both enough for being here today. So again,
thank you, Ellen. We really appreciate you. Thank you for having us.
And I just want to thank everybody for being here. And please check out my website, ECKO Communication.
Yes.
My website is eccocom.com. It's ECKO.com. Check out my services. But again, thank you to Melissa and Hope. And please check out The Worry Shark on all the social media platforms and check out the book. It really is fabulous. And I'm so proud of both of you. So have a great day.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thanks, Ellen.
You guys are the best. Bye. Thank you.